Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Rochelle. I have a disability and I also read a variety of books. And today what we're gonna do is do the books I'm most excited for in the year of 2026. I know that you've probably seen a lot of other people make these videos. I also love making them as well, and some of the books I might bring up might be different than some other booktubers that you've seen, because these are all books that I'm personally excited to read, and it's kind of a mixture of cozy books, fantasy, thriller, horror. It's a variety because I do read a different amount of books. Also, you might notice that I currently have fake nails on. I was testing something. I don't think I like them, so I'm going to be removing them. So this is not something that you're going to see in my channel. You'll usually see my natural nails, but I digress. I'm getting a totally different tangent. Anyway, I have around 26 books for the year of 2026 that I'm excited for. Most of them will range from January through April, and then I do have a few that kind of taper off into the end of the year. I'll probably do another anticipated release maybe halfway through the year of 2026, but there's some that I have on this video that I'm so excited for, and I can't hold back my excitement to go and talk about them. And then I do have some honorable mentions towards the end because they are books I'm excited for, but they don't really have a release date at as far as I know, that's 100%, and they don't have a book cover yet for those books, but I still want to mention them because they are books by indie authors, so those ones I will have at the end of the video. But this video might be a little bit long because we're going to go through 26 books, and I usually do like to read a little bit of a synopsis for each of them, just so that you have an idea of what those books are about. So with that being said, let us go and start. So for the month of January, we have 5 books that I'm really excited for, and they are The Charm Library by Jennifer Moorman, Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanes, The Briars by Sarah Crouch, The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sotto Yambao, and On Sundays She Picked Flowers by Scholfield. So let's go and take a look at some of these books. So I have them kind of in order of when they release first. The first one we're going to talk about is The Charmed Library by Jennifer Moorman. As far as I know, the expected publication date for this one is January 6th, which also happens to be my birthday, and I feel like I needed to at least mention one book that came out on my birthday. I feel like January 6th doesn't have a lot of positive things for that date, unfortunately. Yeah, US. But if there's a book that releases on that date and it's a book I'm excited for, I will 100% count that as a win. So with this one, it says, blending the magic of The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep, the bookish wonder of the Lost Bookshelf, and the small town ambiance of Rachel Linden, The Charm Library invites you into a world where words come alive, secrets are steeped in magic, and lives are transformed one story at a time. What happens when you open your heart to the stories waiting to be written? Stella Parker is stuck back in her childhood bedroom in the small town she grew up in, stuck between playing it safe and making a change, stuck in heartbreak. As an assistant librarian, she's surrounded by her favorite words. But Stella can see words not just on the page, but all around her. Words that shimmer and flit like living things, carrying emotions and whispers of untold stories. For years, she's kept this gift hidden, scribbling fragments into notebooks, unsure of their purpose. I don't know what it is about this book, but it sounds so cozy, and I feel like magic that happens in bookstores or libraries is so nostalgic. If anyone watched The Page Master with Macaulay Culkin, maybe you understand where I'm coming from, but these types of books just always intrigue me, and so I'm very, very, very excited to check this out. Although I do tend to get very emotional with cozy fantasies and tend to put them off, so I don't know if I will get to this book right away when it releases. Do you see this cat? He is such a stage 5 clinger, and this is why sometimes he has to get kicked out of the office when I am on a video call, because he makes things so distracting and it's so hard to focus. Oh my god, Kiko. Then I have Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanes, and the expected date for this one is January 13th of 2026. This is a lush, atmospheric, and achingly magical standalone adult fantasy romance set in Renaissance Italy. In 15th century Volterra, sculptress Ravina Maffei enters a competition hosted by a secretive immortal family who offer an invaluable boon to the victor. Desperate to win so she can save her brother, Ravina reveals a rare magical talent, a dangerous act in a city where magic is forbidden. Her revelation makes her a target, and she is kidnapped by the Luni family and taken to Florence, a city of breathtaking beauty and cutthroat ambition. I just love the art style on this cover. I feel like it seems very like tarot card ish, and I love tarot cards. I don't think I have any skill with reading them, but I personally enjoy going and playing with them and messing around. So this book really just draws me in because of those aspects. Then we have The Briars by Sarah Crouch. This one is also expected for January 13th, and I think I also do have a NetGalley arc for this one. So this was kind of cheating in a way because I was like, oh, I actually have a lot of these arcs in NetGalley. So it made it really easy to look at when some of these books released because I already had them on my NetGalley shelf. Desperate to escape a relationship gone bad, Annie Heston flees north to accept a job as a game warden in Lake Lumen, a picturesque town in the mountains of the Pacific Northwest. A cougar has been spotted in the area, and as Annie warns the community of the threat, she quickly discovers that not everyone in the tight-knit town is welcoming of outsiders, except for Daniel Barella, a reclusive carpenter who lives in the shadows of the mountain. They form an instant bond, though Annie soon comes to realize there is more to his past than meets the eye. I absolutely love thrillers, and especially when they take place in the wilderness, I just tend to eat them up. There's something so exciting about it, and how it feels like there's even higher stakes because you're outside, you're outdoors, you're not in a space that maybe you're 100% used to. You have to go and pick off of a certain skill set for that survival, and I find it so interesting, and I eat it all up. The Elsewhere Express by Samantha Sotto Yambao, and this one comes out January 20th. This one seemed a little bit off from the books that I normally pick. I'll admit that I was so drawn in by the cover of this book. I love the color palette that they used. I don't really like pink. Pink isn't a color that I gravitate towards, but for some reason when it's sunsets or anything fantasy-like, I love it so much. When you lose your way in life, the Elsewhere Express just might find you. Step aboard the train that can take you to your life's purpose in this cozy and inspiring fantasy from the national best-selling author of Water Moon. You can't buy a ticket for the Elsewhere Express, appearing only to those whose lives are adrift. It's a magical train carrying very rare and special cargo, a sense of purpose, peace, and belonging. Raya is one of those lost souls. She had dreamed of being a songwriter, but when her brother died, she gave up her dream and started living his instead. One day on the subway, as her thoughts wandered, she swept off to the Elsewhere Express. There she meets Q, a charming, handsome artist who, like her, has lost his place in the world. Together they find a train full of wonders, from a boarding car that's also a meadow to a dining car where passengers can picnic on lily pads to a bar where jellyfish and whales swim through pink clouds. I know I read a little bit more of that, but I was getting lost in the picture that the words were bringing up, and I felt like it just seemed so much like a Studio Ghibli movie, just with all the magical pieces and dreamlike aspects. I don't know. I'm very excited for this book, and I feel like I'm gonna have to get a physical copy because this is a book that I feel like I want to go and dive into physically and not so much as an audiobook. Then we have On Sunday She Picked Flowers by Yaya Scholfield. In this sinister and surreal Southern Gothic debut, a woman escapes into the uncanny woods of southern Georgia and must contend with ghosts, haunts, and most dangerous of all, the truth about herself. When Judith Rice fled her childhood home, she thought she'd severed her abusive mother's hold on her. She didn't have a plan or destination, just a desperate need to escape. Drawn to the forests of southern Georgia, Jude finds shelter in a house, as haunted by its violent history as she is by her own. But with this book, I actually have a few people I know who have had arcs for this and have read it and loved this book. And that was what first put it on my radar. And then I read the back of the book and I was like, this is definitely a book that I want to read. This sounds like something right up my alley. And I'm really loving books that have gothic aspects in it. They're really fun and eerie. Then moving on to February. So I have Good Intentions by Marisa Walz, Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill, A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann, Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliareni, and then The Bone Queen by Will Schindler. So I actually do have an arc for Good Intentions by Marisa Walz. I believe I did bring this book up in my mystery thriller bingo board because I was so excited when I got this one as an arc, and I was like, this would be perfect for a mystery thriller bingo board. This one comes out February 3rd, and it says fans of psychological suspense will be obsessed. And I honestly love psychological suspense. I feel like that was what opened the doorway for me to really love all sorts of thrillers and then start diving into horror. It was just like that first step I needed to break through those walls, and I'm so glad that it did because I'm obsessed with those genres. They're my absolute favorite to go into. Katie has it all: a thriving luxury event planning business, a packed social calendar, and the man she's loved since she was 17. And most importantly, she has Dana, her identical twin, her mirror, her closest bond, until the day she doesn't. When Katie gets a call that Dana has been in a serious accident and arrives moments too late to say goodbye, her world shatters. But it's not just the loss that consumes her, it's also Morgan, a grieving mother Katie notices in the hospital waiting room the day her sister dies, a stranger. And yet Katie feels a pull she can't ignore, convincing herself that the only way to heal is to help this woman recover from her own devastating tragedy. This sounds so good and intense. I can't wait to read this. I'm probably going to read this maybe sometime in January, especially just to go and jumpstart and get back into reading and getting out of this reading slump. Sometimes thrillers are the things that really help push me through that, whereas fantasy can really take some time, and it's kind of like a teeth pulling experience for me to get back into reading. So very excited for this one. Then we have Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill. It says an Iron Age goddess must grapple with becoming human in this delightful historical fantasy of myth and magic from the author of the instant hit Green Teeth. That is definitely a book that I have not read, but it has been on my radar. When Malt, the goddess of death, is accidentally turned human by a wayward spell, she finds she's ill-equipped to deal with the trials of a mortal life. After all, why would a goddess need to know how to gather food or light a fire? Unable to fend for herself, she teams up with warrior Bellis on a perilous journey to the afterlife to try to restore her powers. Frustrated by her frail human body and beset with blisters, Malt might not make the best traveling companion. I really love the art style on this cover. I always love whenever there's plant life incorporated in the artwork. I love it. Maybe it's because I'm obsessed with poison ivy. I don't know. But also the piece of the goddess of death intrigues me as well. I recently got back into playing D&D, and I'm in a new campaign where I'm playing a druid, and druids are usually my character of choice. But this druid is Circle of the Spores, and my character is very obsessed with everything like necromancy and death and darkness. And so any books that kind of just have those types of vibes really intrigue me, just to kind of inspire me a little bit with my character and help with that roleplay aspect. So I'm excited for this one. I just think the cover is stunning, and I'm intrigued by a goddess having to learn how to go and act as a mortal and do very minuscule normal tasks that a human might have to do. So I think this concept is really interesting. Then we have A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. This person is actually someone that I believe works at Penguin Random House, and I first saw her videos when she had a partner that did voice acting and would read passages from books in different character voices like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, book, Kronk, those types of things. And then I saw that she actually came out with a book. I feel like it's really great to go and support people that are following their dreams and pursuing something that they've always wanted to do. I was really curious about this book, and I think the cover is also very, very beautiful. So A Stage Set for Villains by Shannon J. Spann. This one also comes out February 3rd. So this one says, the gods are dead, all that's left are the players. The performers of the playhouse are as worshipped as they are feared. Their enchanting shows bending hearts, minds, and even reality itself. Vicious, godlike, lethal. 18-year-old Riven Hesper knows the dangers better than anyone after her own encounter with a player resulted in a curse that is slowly killing her. When the playhouse announces the spectacle of a lifetime, a chance for one mortal to steal a player's immortality, Riven sees her last chance to live. Desperate for answers, she infiltrates the competition. There she finds Jude, the playhouse's brilliant, merciless lead player, whose charm is as dangerous as his craft, and strikes a deadly bargain to save her life. It seems like this book is kind of a mixture of Caraval meets One Dark Window, so I'm really intrigued, and I feel like it's a little bit of a dark fantasy, so this might be something that's right up my alley. Also, as a past theater kid, I love whenever there's theater settings in a story. I think it's so much fun. Then we move on to The Bone Queen by Will Schindler. This one is also February 3rd. This is a chilling horror thriller debut where a mother's search for her missing daughter battles against the shadows of a historic, dangerous legend. Single mother Jenna arrives on the tranquil shores of Athelssea, fueled by the desperate hope to find Chloe, her teenage daughter who's disappeared from their London home. She has no idea why. All she knows is that Chloe had changed in the previous 2 weeks, haunted by something or someone, and the fiery ticket here is the only clue she has. As she explores the village and interacts with the locals, Jenna soon realizes a macabre secret is being hidden in plain sight. Dark legend of a vengeful woman called the Bone Queen is spoken of in hushed tones amongst the villagers, some of whom are frantically trying to suppress the tale that has long terrorized their lives. This sounds so intense, and I'm so ready to check this one out. I think the Bone Queen just sounds like such an interesting and mysterious concept, and I feel like as soon as I saw the title, that was what drew me in even before seeing what the actual artwork on the cover was. Then we have Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliarini, and this one seems like the date has kind of changed around a few times. I do actually have a physical arc for it, and on the arc itself, it says that it's on sale February 10th, but I'm seeing a couple of different dates here on the site. So I'm seeing April 30th or May 12th, but so far it seems like this book is still going to be released in 2026. And just to let you know a little bit of this one, so it says, born with the ability to speak with the dead, Viola hates her magic. It killed her sister Olivia, and if she doesn't learn why, it will kill her too. Her only hope lies within the perilous walls of the Gore Hill Institute of Magic, where Olivia spent her final days. There, Viola clashes with Silas, a poison mage whose magic stems from 3 magical snakes. Immortal, tormented, and reckless, Silas is tethered to a life he never asked for, and haunted by guilt for his father's death. His hatred for death mages runs deep, and he's determined to keep Viola at a distance. But when an attack forces him to heal her, their fates become intertwined by a magical bond that threatens to upend his loyalties and his common sense. This one sounds so good. Like I said, I've been kind of struggling with fantasy a bit right now just because of my reading slump, but I'm so intrigued by the concept of this book, and just from what I told you earlier with my character being a druid and being Circle of the Spores and also interested with anything death and necrotic, I think this would be a great book to read just for extra inspiration for my character. Moving on to March, we also have 5 books. I didn't do this on purpose. I didn't realize that I had 5 books for so many months. First off, we have Ruinous Creatures by Jessie Cole Jackson, then Inamorata by Ava Reed, Served Him Right by Lisa Unger, You Did Nothing Wrong by CJ Drews, and What We Did to Survive by Megan Lawley. Starting off with the first one for March that I have another physical arc for it, and that would be Ruinous Creatures by Jessie Cole Jackson. I have that this book is going to be out on March 10th, and I love the cover of this book. I love the bird skull and then the flowers in the background. Like I said, I'm obsessed with any time there's flowers or nature aspects on a book cover. It's so good. I love it so much. So this one is for fans of One Dark Window and T. Kingfisher. Comes a standalone romantasy debut about a woman who accidentally awakens the power to siphon magic from two phoenix skulls, binding her fate to a vengeful stranger and forcing them to navigate the devastating cost of their unbreakable bond. In a sanctuary for magical creatures hidden deep within a valley, magic is born from the bones of extraordinary creatures. For generations, a privileged few have siphoned this magic by wearing the skulls of such creatures and wielding their power. I just realized that we have a couple of different books that involve bonds with someone else, whether it's like an enemies to lovers situation or whatnot, and I'm here for it. I feel like maybe I'm gonna need to either read these books back to back or maybe space them out so I'm not influenced and swayed one way or another with which book I prefer over the other. But I'm very excited for this one as well. I feel like I might read this one first before the other one, just because with the bird skull that relates to my D&D character just a little bit more. So Served Him Right by Lisa Unger is also supposed to be out March 10th. This one is about a woman's brunch with friends quickly turning dark in this gripping thriller. Anna Blacksmith has gathered her closest friends and sister Vera for a brunch to celebrate her recent breakup from her boyfriend Paul. But when shocking news about Paul arrives, all eyes are on Anna, the angry ex with a bad reputation. Suspicions only intensify when Anna's best friend falls deathly ill after the brunch. I'm intrigued by this one. I don't know what it is, but just the simplicity of just a table setting on the book cover and then a slash across it. It just seems so intense and really has my curiosity piqued. So I'm very excited for this. Inna Morada by Ava Reed, and this one comes out March 17th. I know a lot of people have talked about this one, but I couldn't resist. This one has been on my radar and I'm so curious about it. This is a visionary and atmospheric gothic fantasy about necromancy, vengeance, and a soul-consuming love. Oh, I just love that. Necromancy, keyword that I'm interested in for next year. Once there was an island where the dead walked the earth, and 7 noble houses ruled by the arcane secrets of necromancy. A conqueror's blade brought them low, burning their libraries, killing their lords, and extinguishing their eldritch magic. But defiant against the new order stands the House of Teeth and its last living members, beautiful Marozia, the heiress to the house, and her cousin, the uncanny Lady Agnes. Though she has not spoken a word in 7 years, Agnes is the true carrier of the house's legacy, and she has her orders. She must recapture the secrets of death magic and avenge her family's fallen honor. She must arrange the betrothal of her beloved cousin Marozia to Lupriant, heir to the Conqueror's throne, for access to the Forbidden Library and its grotesquely grand castle. I mean, there's so many words there that intrigue me. Death magic, Forbidden Library, sign me up. And House of Teeth, I want to know what's going on here. I'm so intrigued. I love the cover of this book. So yeah, I might have to run to the bookstore for this one. Then we have You Did Nothing Wrong by C.G. Drews, and this one comes out March 17th. It's a relentless horror-inducing psychological suspense. So I believe this is the author's first book that is like an adult book, and I have a lot of their young adult books on my list to read, and I just have not picked them up quite yet. One of them I had as a NetGalley arc, and just timing didn't work for me to pick it up right away. And then as soon as I saw this one, it also got added to my radar because of the psychological suspense piece. It says, single mother Elodie's life has become a fairy tale. She's met Bren, equal parts golden retriever, devoted and sinfully handsome. He's whisked her and her autistic son Jude to the crumbling family house he's renovating. She has a new husband, a new house, and a new baby on the way. Everything is perfect. Then Jude claims he can hear voices in the walls. He says their renovations are hurting the house. Even Elodie can't ignore it. Something strange is going on. The question is it with the house or with her son? Oh, I'm so curious on this one. I also love the cover. I think the piece on the roses and also the house with a shadow of a person in the window. Oh, so good. I can't wait to read this one. And I also love that this author always tends to have some sort of representation involved in their books. It's just the cherry on the top that makes me excited to pick up this author's books. Then last book for March, we have What We Did to Survive by Megan Lale. This one comes out March 31st. Now, Megan Lale, I've kind of had hits and misses with this author. Ever since I read their book, That's Not My Name, I was like, okay, this author is going to be an instant read. I will read whatever books they put out. But then they had another one called No Place Left to Hide, and it just felt a little bit flat for me. And so I'm really hoping that this next book will be a little bit of a redemption piece. I still don't think I'll write this author off if I don't love this book, but it will be definitely a little bit of a bummer. So this one is about a vacation in paradise turning deadly when 14 sailing charter hits stormy seas. Hannah is having an incredible spring break, a week at a resort in Mexico with her best friend Emmy, and her family is perfect for de-stressing from senior year, even if it's awkward being around Emmy's older brother Jackson, who she's had a crush on for as long as she can remember. Still, the beach is gorgeous, so is the guy they meet in the surf, except Hannah is now the third wheel in Emmy's vacation romance. Eager to impress Emmy, her wealthy new boyfriend charters a private sailboat to make the most of their last day in paradise, and Hannah and Jackson are invited along. As the clouds roll in and the skies darken, their boat is the only one leaving the marina, and the further they get into open water, the more unsettled Hannah becomes. I'm so excited for this one because, like I said, Megan Lale has been an author that I was so excited for after her first book. And even though there's been some hiccups, I still can't wait to check this one out. One thing I am a little bit nervous for with this book is I'm terrified of sharks. So the fact that we're kind of going on open water, I feel like opens up the chance to potentially have sharks appear, but I'm still gonna read it. I just might need some hand holding to get through it during those parts. So we'll see. All right. So then moving on to April, we have 5 more books again. And the first one is The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer, The Escape Game by Marissa Meyer and Tamara Moss, The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer, Death Meets Cute by Jay Penner, and Dark is When the Devil Comes by Daisy Pierce. The Book Witch by Meg Schaefer comes out April 7th of 2026. She can hop into any novel, she just can't stay there. Come along with The Book Witch in this magical and inspiring love letter to reading. I mean, doesn't that instantly sound so cozy and like a book you want to pick up? Rainy March is a proud third-generation book witch, sworn to defend works of fiction from all foes, real and imaginary. With her magical umbrella and feline familiar, she jumps into and out of novels to fix malicious alterations and rogue heroes. I think this sounds so good, and I know there was a book a while back that had a concept of a character that could jump into books, and that book didn't work for me. I actually DNF'd it, but I'm hopeful that this one won't be like that other book. Plus, the feline familiar really just pulls at my heartstrings. I love whenever there's a familiar involved in a book, so I am excited to check this one out. It seems like more of a cozy fantasy, so definitely leagues away from that other book that I DNF'd, I think, last year. The Escape Game by Marissa Meyer and Tamara Moss comes out April 7th of 2026. And this one is a YA murder mystery, but also set in an escape room themed game show, which, oh my gosh. It's all fun and games until someone ends up dead. 6 months ago, season 4 of the Escape Game ended in horror when contestant Alicia Angelos was found murdered on set. Now season 5 is underway and new contestants are ready to put their skills to the test, solving the show's trickiest escape rooms. There's Addie, the cryptographer, Carter, the math whiz, Beck, the wannabe game master, and Sierra Angelos, the girl who got away with her sister's murder. Or so everyone believes. I'm excited for this one. I know I'm trying to get away from overreading too many YA books, but come on, this one sounds so good, especially with an escape room themed game show. Sign me up, just not actually in real life, just for the book. The Caretaker by Marcus Kluwer, and this one comes out April 21st of 2026. You would have seen probably in my most recent PR book mail haul that I actually got a physical copy of this book, and I practically screamed. I was so excited because I didn't think that little old me would get a copy of this book, but I have been so excited to start reading this. I'm probably going to include this book in my TBR for January because I just want to start reading it right away. It has like a little newspaper clip right here on the top. It says, exciting opportunity, caretaker urgently needed. 3 days of work, competitive pay, serious applicants only. Macy Mullins can't say why the job posting grabbed her attention. It had the pull of a fisherman's lure, barbed hook and all, although vaguely ominous. But after an endless string of failed job interviews, she's not exactly in a position to be picky. She has rent to pay, groceries to buy, and a younger sister to provide for. Besides, it's only 3 days' work. 3 days cooped up in a stranger's house surrounded by the wilderness of the Oregon coast. What starts as a peculiar side gig soon becomes a waking nightmare. An incomprehensible evil may dwell on this property, and Macy Mullins might just be the only thing standing between it and the rest of humanity. I can't wait for this one. I really loved We Used to Live Here by this author as well. It was a book that I just instantly ate right up. I couldn't stop reading it, so I can't wait to go and read this one and see what the author has come up with for us. Death Meets Cute by Jay Penner. This one comes out April 28th of 2026. I feel like next year I definitely noticed a lot more like nerdy fantasy D&D type of books, and I am totally here for it. It's so exciting. It's like, yes, nerds are finally winning. I am more than capable of being evil today, I think. Iris Wayward wants to be bad, truly bad, terrifyingly, gloriously villainous. But after helping her sisters unleash a spell to throw the realm into chaos, Iris is left feeling strangely empty, and still not the villain of her dreams. So she sets off for the quiet town of Fraywell to build her wicked legacy alone. Things start a crooked little cottage, a reputation for curses and potions, and a healthy dose of fear from the locals. But when her ogre bodyguard disappears, Iris needs a new muscle. Good thing a fearsome orc just toppled over in her yard. Naturally, she decides to reanimate him. It's a perfect solution. This is definitely labeled a cozy fantasy, and it seems like maybe there's a little bit of humor involved in it and a lot of heartwarming aspects as well. I'm so curious about this one. I feel like Jay Penner has definitely written a lot of other books that are cozy fantasies as well, and they have been on my radar for a while. I just haven't had the opportunity to pick a book up, so this might be the first one that I have to go and dive into. Then last book we have for April is Dark is When the Devil Comes by Daisy Pierce. This one is out April 28th of 2026. The woods are known as the place to avoid. What goes in doesn't come out. Hazel has been gone from her small hometown of Idleness in the English countryside for years. Now returned to the wake of a traumatic divorce and crumbling personal life, her simple plans are to lay low at her parents' vacated house, reconnected with her prickly sister Kathy, and slowly get back on her feet. Kathy is surprised when Hazel doesn't show. Their relationship strained from a fallout half a decade ago. She didn't expect them to get back into sisterly rhythm, though she hadn't counted on Hazel bailing either. But something isn't adding up. Other people in town whisper of a threat that can't be shaken. The woods are known for being restless, and Kathy knows the old saying, if you go looking for trouble, you just might find it. This looks so good, although the cover kind of reminds me a little bit of The Housemaid, especially I think a newer cover that came out. Hopefully there's no similarities there with that book. I haven't heard anything so far, and I also haven't read The Housemaid yet, so I don't know if I should read that before reading this. I'm not sure. We'll see when we get to it. Now for June, July, August, and September, I do have like a couple of books here and there. So we're not gonna really have too many books for each month. I feel like once we get a few months into 2026, that's when we're probably gonna start hearing about more book releases that happen in the summer and the fall. But for June, I have two books: When Dealing with Dragons by Dana Swift, and then The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham. So The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham comes out June 2nd of 2026. I don't really know too much about this author or this book, but apparently this is a book that a YouTuber came out with, and I really want to go and support fellow creators. So this was one that I was like, sure, we'll go and check this one out. It says a lush and immersive queer Sleeping Beauty retelling about escapism, grief, and dreaming of a better world, which honestly sounds quite tempting with some of the things we've had to deal with in the US lately. So 100 years have passed since the last heir of Gildan fell into eternal slumber and doomed the once mighty kingdom into poverty and invasion. At least that's what the fairy tales claim. Corinne is a jaded thief who doesn't believe in fables, even when she researches Gildan's underground tunnels to find her younger sister, Ellie, who ran away to find the sleeping princess in hopes of a better life. Corinne's conviction is challenged when she discovers the ruins of the ancient castle maintained by beings from the kingdom's golden age, who protect a hidden portal into Princess Amelia's subconscious. Following Ellie's voice, Corinne jumps in the portal and seals the entry behind her. This sounds really interesting. I will admit that Sleeping Beauty isn't really one of my favorite princesses anymore. I loved her as a child, and that was mostly because I absolutely loved the color pink, and then my cousin and I fought over who got to be Sleeping Beauty. But I am really intrigued in this. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous, so I'm excited to check this one out. Then the last one I have for June is When Dealing with Dragons by Dana Swift. This one comes out June 30th, and I think I do have an arc for this one on NetGalley. Bonding with dragons gave humans magic to craft metal. Now, two school rivals have to work together to protect a priceless secret, all while fighting their growing attraction to each other. Copper crafter Farron Walsh is set on following her father's footsteps to become a dragon veterinarian. The only thing more powerful than her love for these magnificent creatures is her hate for those who exploit them for their precious metal. That includes her classmate, an arrogant dragon racer named James Murphy, whose silver crafting family represents the worst of human greed and dragon abuse. Plus, he's the biggest competition for the college scholarship she desperately needs. When James strong-arms his way into interning at her family's dragon sanctuary for the summer, it puts everything at risk. Farron isn't just the plain copper crafter she seems. She's hiding a secret that could not only change her life, but their society as a whole. And James, trying to find refuge from his controlling father, harbors his own secret. Years-long crush on Farron. Hating James might be harder than she thought, but Farron can't risk getting too close. The fate of an endangered species is at stake. I'm so curious about this one. I also feel like this is another book that just feels like nerds are getting another win, especially with fantasy books. So I'm very excited for this one. I love the cover on it, and it kind of seems like the female character has like scales or something on her. So I'm so curious on this and what the secret is that she's hiding. Moving on to July, I only have one book on my list, and that would be Sea of Charms by Sarah Beth Durst. Now, a few months ago, I finally read The Spell Shop, and I cried my eyes out just because cozy books give me so much nostalgia for my childhood and for my grandma, who played a very key role in making me into the reader and the person that I am today. And I just love the artwork on Sarah Beth Durst's books. This one is coming out July 28th. I have not read The Enchanted Greenhouse yet, but I do have plans on reading it. I just need to have a box of tissues next to me. So I believe these books are kind of like standalones, and they're all set in the same world that is The Spell Shop. So I don't think this one should have any sort of spoilers per se. So it says Marin is a supply runner with her own boat that she sails from island to island, delivering whatever anyone will pay her to deliver. Letters, flour, even the occasional enchanted lemur. It's a lonely life, but it's hers, and she wouldn't trade the freedom of the sea for anything. Her only companion is a sea serpent, Perry, whom she saved from a fisherfolk's net. I'm gonna stop right there because I'm seeing a few things that poke out storylines from The Spell Shop, so just to avoid potential spoilers, I'm gonna stop there. but I just think this sounds so cozy, and I love that her books and the main characters have a companion of some sort. I just think it's so precious, and I can't wait to read this one. I'm obsessed with the artwork on the cover. Whoever she's choosing to do the artwork for her books, I hope she never stops, because I'm in love with it so much. I know this video is a million years long, and I apologize. Part of it has to do with allergies, so we will be cutting that part out. I have 2 books for August, and that would be Meat Bees by Dane Erbach, and then Reliquary by Hannah F. Witten. Meat Bees by Dane Erbach comes out August 4th of 2026. This one I'm terrified for, but I'm also so intrigued. I think the cover is absolutely disgusting, but I'm so curious. This book is basically described as Jaws with wasps. And I have never watched Jaws. I'm terrified of sharks. I had one person that tried to get me to watch Jaws on a date, and I kicked them out of my apartment. Just to give you a little bit of Rochelle lore if you were curious. This says, by the time Scarlett Sutton arrives at her dad's cabin in the snowy mountains, 2 locals have already been eaten alive by wasps. Of course, she doesn't know this yet. All Scarlett knows is her mom finally checked herself into a hospital to take care of her mental health, leaving Scarlett alone with her dad all summer. After he insists that she get a job, Scarlett accepts a position at nearby Stovetop Outfitters, hoping to spend as much time away from him as possible. She doesn't expect to trip over a skeletonized corpse beneath the zipline during one of her shifts, and definitely doesn't expect to be thrown into a Netflix-style true crime investigation. I'm curious for this one. I have a feeling I'm going to be grossed out of my mind, but I'm so curious and I just want to check this one out. I do actually have an arc for this one on NetGalley, so we'll see how things go. Wish me luck, and maybe like internet hand-holding might be appreciated with this one. Then we have Reliquary by Hannah F. Witten. I'm so intrigued on the cover of this one because it seems like there's a hidden door or house, but also the silhouette of a person laying down. And I just think that concept is really stunning. So it says, sometimes you just want to belong. When Claire's fiancé mysteriously dies of an unknown neurological illness, seemingly destroying her chances of the belonging she sought, she's prepared to sink back into the lonely life she lived before. Orphaned by a freak boating accident in her childhood, she never expected to find connection like she did with Elias. Anyway, even if sometimes that connection seemed more like something he felt obligated to than something he wanted. Their relationship wasn't perfect. His coldness, his secrets, his strange aversion to the ocean. But what relationship is? When Elias's family reaches out, his incredibly wealthy family, from whom he was estranged, and invites Claire to awake at their family home on a private island, Claire is given the chance to have connection again, to belong to something, just like she's always wanted. Just like Elias knew she was desperate to have. I'm so curious on this one. I'll admit, like, when I was reading a little bit of the synopsis, for some reason it was giving me like Ready or Not vibes, just with the wealthy family, the son that's kind of estranged from his family, the fiance that really wants a family and connection and to have that kind of belonging. But I don't think this book is Ready or Not by any means. But I am very, very curious and excited to check this one out. Last book out of the 26 book releases that I'm excited for would be September's release, which is The Knave and the Moon. This is the second book for the Stonewater Kingdom by Rachel Gillig, and the first book is The Night and the Moth. I'm not going to read the synopsis on the back of the book for anyone that has not read The Night and the Moth, because that was a book that I loved so much, and I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'll give you a little bit of the synopsis for The Night and the Moth in case if you are curious and would like to check it out. So to give you a little bit of a description for The Night and the Moth, Sybil Delling has spent 9 years dreaming of having no dreams at all. Like the other foundling girls who traded a decade of service for a home in the great cathedral, Sybil is a diviner. In her dreams, she receives visions from 6 unearthly figures known as omens. From them, she can predict terrible things before they occur, and lords and common folk alike travel across the kingdom of Trom's windswept moors to learn their futures by her dreams. Just as she and her sister diviners near the end of their service, a mysterious knight arrives at the cathedral. Rude, heretical, and devilishly handsome, the knight Roderick has no respect for Sybil's visions. But when Sybil's fellow diviners begin to vanish one by one, she has no choice but to seek his help in finding them. I loved this book so much. I also really love the gargoyle Bartholomew in the book as well. I was a little bit concerned if that would have been a character I would have enjoyed, but I love them so much. They have to be protected at all costs. And the cliffhanger that Rachel Gillig left us at the end of that book, it was a lot. It took me 5 to 7 business days to go and process it, and I can't wait until the next book. It seems like a lot of her books tend to be duologies, which is kind of nice for someone that struggles in reading book series, just because I never want them to end. But I need to know what happens. I need to know how things end in that next book. That is why it's on my list. And that concludes the 26 books for 2026 that I'm excited for. But I do have 3 honorable mentions by some authors that I've either been on their street teams or they're indie authors, and they deserve so much love. So I'm just going to also include them just so that you're getting a few more books. I'm so sorry, but hey, if you're here, that means that you're also looking at books to be excited for in 2026. So first one I have here is Lethal Kiss by Taylor Groth. I was a part of Taylor's street team for their book Hollow, and I absolutely love that and all the eerie vibes and everything in it. With Lethal Kiss, this is described as Jennifer's body meets Ninth House. This is their adult debut novel. It's a sapphic horror romance that's as grotesque and blood-soaked as it is beautiful. I've seen like snippets of artwork and things like that, and let me tell you, I'm so excited for this book. When Marcella is hired at Preston University, she has her game plan already mapped out. Lay low for a few semesters, enjoy the extensive library, and maybe feast on a couple of her coworkers. That is, until a professor is found murdered and it's not her doing. She may be the newest monster on campus, but she definitely isn't the most dangerous. I'm excited for this one. It comes out October 20th of 2026, so that's probably why there's not too much information on this. The cover is yet to be revealed as well at this time, but I know Taylor has also given snippets of character art at least, so we do know what some of the main characters look like, and let me tell you, I'm so excited. Oh, it's gonna be so good. All right, next author that I'm gonna talk about is Michelle N. Haygood, and the book that is going to be coming out hopefully next year. I'm not quite sure because she just revealed the title of the book and hasn't exactly given a release date, but that would be The Reign of Fire. This is going to be book 3 for her current series, The Royal Trilogy, and I can't remember if it's supposed to be the last book and it's a trilogy or not, but I am very excited for this one. She is an indie author that actually lives in Colorado, and she's so sweet. She also does the Colorado Springs Book Bash, and it's such a fun event with a lot of indie authors that go to it. But I don't want to give you any spoilers for the 3rd book because obviously I want you to read the series and you're not going to understand any of the context. So I'll read you the description on the back of the 1st book, which is The North Tower. 19-year-old Charlie has been dealt a bad hand from the day she was born. Found in a trash can as a baby, she's been shipped from one foster home to another, each one worse than the last. When she's offered an escape, she takes it, but fate isn't ready to be kind just yet. After a brutal car crash, Charlie is dragged into an unfamiliar world of magic, with promises of a fresh start at the Magisterium of Magic, prestigious school for the rich and entitled. Here she's told that she's a royal, a member of the highest tier of magic users, with the kind of power most people would do anything to steal or control. Michelle is so sweet and her books are so good. They're also very dark books. I don't quite understand why it says it's for young adults, because I feel like maybe it's on the verge of more adult type of fantasy, but it's so good. If you like that one series by She Who Shall Not Be Named, this might be another series that I would suggest maybe going and checking out instead, because it's by someone that's a good person who is genuinely kind and there's no hate that's spewing from that. just saying. So I would definitely go and say to check out this series. They are pretty chunky books, so definitely prepare yourself for that piece. Then the last book by an indie author that I'm going to bring up is Isle of Echoes by Alicia E. Anderson. This is book 3 in her series, and I've been obsessed with this series so much. I got the first book from NerdFam, and then ever since then I have hopped on every opportunity to go and get an arc for her books. And the last book that I read in the series was Isle of Ember, and I rated that one 5 stars. I loved it so much. I want to say that there's at least going to be 7 books in the series because she's doing 1 book per island in the series. And if you like Pirates of the Caribbean, Atlantis, The Mummy, anything like that, this book series is kind of like a combination of that. There was also a love square at one point, but now it kind of seems whittled down to a love triangle. That's the only spoiler I'm giving you. But it's so good. I love it so much. And I'll give you a description for the first books just so you get an idea of what it's about. A cursed kingdom teeters on the brink of destruction, its fate resting on the unsuspecting shoulders of a librarian. Vivian Banner has spent her life surrounded by maps of distant lands she planned never to see. Bound to the Library of Metis by family legacy, when her parents go missing at sea, Vivian is thrust on a perilous adventure to the first of the legendary enchanted isles of Osamiri and retrieve one of the artifacts said to hold the power to save her homeland and solve the mystery of her parents' disappearance. She sets sail with a loyal crew of the Zephyrus to the tropical isle of Verdance, full of deadly plants and creatures, but the island's dangers aren't the only threat. A ruthless rival crew with a dark agenda thwarts their efforts at every turn. Honestly, this series is so good. I've been loving it so far, and I think more people should go and check it out. So that's why I needed to go and do a little shout out to some of my favorite indie authors that are releasing some books next year that I can't wait to go and check out. But yeah, those were the 26 books plus a few extras that I'm so excited for in the year of 2026. All of these books sound so good, and I can't wait to go and read them all, especially the ones that I have physical arcs for or that I have on my NetGalley shelf, because a goal for mine in 2026 is to try to get my ratio back up because it's struggling right now. It's not great. But if you had any of these books on your radar for the year of 2026, I'd definitely like to know down in the comments below, or if there's any books that I didn't mention, please let me know as well. I want us all to go and share our excitement for all of these book releases that are coming out in 2026, because these authors work so hard to go and bring these books to us, and we should just go and rave about them and show our support. So yeah, definitely do that down in the comments below. But if you're new to this channel, if you liked this video, maybe go and consider leaving a like, possibly go and subscribe, because that definitely means the world to me. And as always, I love to wrap up my videos with this reminder to never forget that you're worthy and capable of amazing things. Bye, friends.